Hey guys, so today's gonna be a quick one. I'm gonna rattle through this really quickly because I know majority of you don't come here for my makeup content, but every now and then I like to share some of my favorite products or things that I'm really excited about. So today is just my favorites throughout 2023. So first is primer. I'll be honest, I've hardly used primer this year. Most I've done is use a setting spray. Okay, I have no idea if this works or not. I've literally been using this because there's this girl I follow on Instagram. Claire Bridget is a makeup artist and I trust her opinion, and she swears by the Charlotte Tilbury, what's this even called? Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray. So much so that I actually got a huge bottle of this because look how much I've left. I'll be honest, I have no idea if this works. Unlike my KVD one, which feels like literally locks in your makeup, I don't notice that with this one, but I'm just trusting her advice. I have been using this a bunch before and after makeup, just to really like try and lock in my makeup. It's definitely a most used. I still grab for my NYX Bare With Me, to be honest. However, primer, if I haven't been utilising primers, I have a huge primer drawer that I'm just not using. The only thing I've been using this year, at least in the last 4 or 5 months, is the e.l.f. Halo Glow Liquid Filter. I do use the Charlotte Tilbury one as well when I'm actually going to gigs and stuff like that, but this one, I've actually bought a new one of these because, not that I won't use this up, but because this is like the original fair shade, which is a little bit yellow for me. To me, this is such a lovely, great primer to put under powder foundation, but also it's a great primer to put under normal foundation because I feel like every foundation I put on top of it, it looks more glowy and youthful. There have been months, days where I've been doing my makeup and I've felt, have I just forgotten how to do my fucking makeup? Because I feel like I'm getting worse. Then I started putting this underneath and I noticed, okay, this is what I needed. This is the thing that I put anything on top of it and it just looks absolutely beautiful. I don't feel like I need too much foundation because this does give me a little bit of coverage. Because of that, it doesn't feel like I need to pack on the makeup. Because of that, I feel prettier. But speaking of foundations, at the start of the year, this little concoction, this was a really random Instagram advert that I kept getting recommended and I finally bought it. This is by Typology and it's the most natural serum foundation. I will say the shade range on this is shockingly bad. They really need to up the shade range, but I just mix it with the Wet n Wild foundation stick. Now, I have so little of this left, and that's saying something because I never ever grab for stick foundations. My Hourglass one, I have a backup of it and I never grab for it. This one I like over the liquid foundation. This has been a go-to for me for the whole start of the year, and then throughout the end of the year, if I needed something to last all fucking day, I've got a number of gigs I'm going to this year. I've got Bring Me the Horizon. Well, it's basically a 5-hour fucking gig actually. I'm so fucking excited. Not only is Bad Omens has been like my favourite band all of 2023, they're doing like a 50-minute set, which is basically their headlining tour, I imagine, in London. Bring Me the Horizon doing an hour and a half, and there's going to be 2 bands prior to that. I got a Taylor Swift ticket, I got a Slipknot ticket for the end of the year, I've got a Normandy ticket, who's like they're a smaller band from Sweden. I've got that in March. So I have a lot of gigs this year, and you know I'm going to be grabbing this one. This is the Superstay 24-Hour Skin Tint. This doesn't budge. It doesn't give you loads of coverage. It is a medium coverage foundation, but it's very pretty, very skin light, which I've really been enjoying this year. I'm still doing really heavy eye makeup, but if I need a little bit of extra, I just stick on maybe like my Rimmel powder foundation. I actually really like my JCat one, which I'm really sad I'm running out of. I've got so many others, it doesn't matter. This foundation 100% is what I'm going to be grabbing for all gigs because this is the most long-lasting foundation I've tried this year. For concealer, I still use my Milani. I actually had that in my makeup bag and I switched it just so that I could talk about this one today because I didn't talk about this last year because I think I found this at the start of the year. This is the NYX Bare With Me concealer. Now, I hate this little stupid thing here. I wish it could just be in a wand because I always feel like I pump out too little, too much. It's never the right amount. That's the only thing I don't like about this, but this is the first concealer I tried. This, the Tarte Shape Tape, which I don't use that much, I'm just trying to like use it up. But I will say the Tarte Shape Tape, Milani, there was another one but I can't remember what it was. There's only a few concealers I find at the moment that are not sinking into my fine lines, and I mean I tried the Pat McGrath last year and I struggled with that one too, but this one is beautiful. This by Terry, I think it literally says on here, it's an anti-wrinkle dark circle eye bag serum corrector. This is what I want for the next one. This is my favourite high-end concealer. This isn't even a high-end concealer, this is a luxury concealer. This is a dupe for this, so you don't need this by Terry one. But this, it's not super full coverage, but I don't think it needs to be. It has the right level of correction and serum that covers your dark circles without you feeling like you have to pack it on. And obviously the less product there is, that means you have less lines on your eyes. Do I still have some lines? Yes, because I'm human. But this is definitely my favourite concealer this year. Just a quick one on cream contour. I do really like my Patrick Tar, but I wish I didn't have the bronzer in it. I don't love that bronzer. I have been grabbing for this thing so much more. I actually remember when I went to go see Barbie, this was so funny. I didn't do this intentionally, but every piece of makeup I picked up ended up having pink on it. This serum concealer, I think like this e.l.f. primer. Everything I had at least had something pink on it, and I was like, that was really weird. But I remember because I was using these two a lot at the start of the year, but I have not put this down. The e.l.f. Halo Glow, I don't know why it's called Halo Glow when it's a contour. It's a weird name, really. Appreciate the highlighter and the blush have more glow to them, but the contour is just a contour. I will say, I know that a lot of the other shades are not cool enough, and I wish they would actually come out with a bronzer one and a contour one that people can actually fucking contour, but this is my favorite contour. The only thing I don't like about it is how fucking messy this gets. It is gross in there. I always feel like I'm pressing out too much, and if I do press out too much, it just all gathers, so I don't have to clean it off and waste product. Obviously it's affordable, so it's not the end of the world. Look, I literally, because there's so much on it, I just ended up getting some on here. I love this product. It blends really nicely. Even if you use a bit too much, it doesn't matter. You can always get it to blend and look natural. I'm wearing like all of these products today. I didn't use this foundation, I used the cocktail foundation. Setting powders. My powder under my eyes has to be different to anything I'm using. One, to set my face, or to like give me coverage on my face. And the Rimmel Match Perfection, if I'm not using my NYX, which I have been using all year, but I went through a whole tub and then thought, do you know what, before I get into the new one I've just bought, let me try and use this up, and you can see how much I've used. This is exactly the same as my NYX one. It's super smoothing, doesn't build up too much under the eyes because it has that super finely milled texture. It is a really nice powder, which no one talks about. If you want something super smooth and not like cakey, this is gorgeous. This is something I cannot live without anymore. These powder puffs, doesn't matter which brand it is. I have ones from Linda Hallberg. I have this one from Hocroft. That's a really weird name. But any of these kind of powder puffs, I have like ones from e.l.f., ones from Essence. I have that Tatty Beauty Blender one. I grab for these constantly to set my under eyes, and sometimes if I don't want to set my face, this is something I use constantly to help press powder into my face without getting cakey. I cannot live without these things anymore. They have been a revolution for me. Bronzer, I wanted to just give a quick shout out to this one because I never wear cream bronzer ever, but I have reached for this a number of times this year. The Nars Laguna 1 bronzer. It is such a lovely natural colour. I did put it on today. It's a really lovely shade for people as fair as I am, so I really have been enjoying that if I grab for a cream. But the bronzer I have loved, yes, I still have this in the box. One of the reasons that I still keep my Pat McGrath stuff in the box as long as I can is because they all have the same packaging, and it's really hard to remember which one's which. So when I have, especially if I have them in my makeup bag, blushes and the bronzers are all in the same fucking packaging. It's really annoying. But yeah, the bronzer for Pat McGrath, unlike the blushes, this used to have a crown in the middle but has actually diminished quite a bit. This is without a doubt my favourite bronzer of all time, and that's saying something because I have a lot of bronzers. But I grab for this as a matte bronzer all the fucking time. It's so natural looking without it being too orange or anything like that. The reason I think people like Natasha Denona and Pat McGrath has such a way with makeup is because they 100,000,000% know what shades to do for each type of skin tone. I actually went to the Pat McGrath counter in Lakeside, that's a big shopping centre in the UK. I kept thinking like between two shades and I didn't know which one to get, similar to the Charlotte Tilbury I tried last year. I was like, if I get the lighter one I think it'll be too light, but I don't know if the second one's going to be a bit too deep. This was actually the third one. I know the lady showed me, she was like, I think you're between 2 and 3. She said, I think I'd use this one more for contour and this one more to bronze you. And I was like, yeah, I think I need this one to bronze. I don't need a contour. So I got this one. The texture of it just applies so nicely. It never gets muddy. No one talks about this because it is expensive, but it's one of those products that I feel like is expensive for a reason. When I go through it, I honestly do think I actually will go through this one. I will repurchase. So this is shade Nude Honey. Okay, so highlighter, because I do highlighter before blush. There are two highlighters that have just taken over my like world. The Milani Baked highlighter in Dolce Pearla. I got this around the middle of the year. I think you can even see there, because it's a baked formula, it's so smooth. Shine is so pretty. It's one of those more champagne-y natural highlighters, but let's be honest, those are the ones, if you're fair like me, are going to grab for more often. If I wasn't grabbing for this, I was grabbing for my Rose Gold highlighter by Milani. But at the end of the year, I have to mention this because I shit all over in my review the Ghostface collection. But these two highlighters, if I want a glam, and I do mean glam, beaming highlighter, these are the highlighters I'm going for, especially the top one because that has like glitter in it, so I feel like it's an amazing topper. The glitter one's here, so they're just really beaming highlighters that are just like wet looking on your face. I haven't been able to stop putting this on when I go out for like Christmas or again gigs and things like that. I'm going to be using this a bunch. The rest of the Ghostface collection was pretty boring in some ways and dull, but this I have actually been reaching for all the time. This is beautiful. Okay, so blush before we get into eyeshadow and then lips. I have been using my Pat McGrath blushes constantly. I feel like that goes without saying now because they are my holy grails. This little thing by Laura Mercier, this is actually a highlighting powder apparently in Rose Glow. It's a very, very nude natural blush, but it is the blush I'm wearing at the moment. So my bronzer only comes up to about here. I have covered it with this product. Didn't use this yesterday. Used a different brush to make sure that there was no additional pigment. It looks like you wouldn't get much, but you definitely get a nice wash of colour. And because it has this like sheen to it, because of that, again, it makes you look more almost youthful. It has like a really beautiful natural glow through and within, similar to actually the Milani ones that are in a similar packaging but smaller, are very similar, where they have like this natural glow to them. This one is just because of the colour. I've absolutely been adoring this one. Again, it's one of those products that I've never heard anyone talk about. For brow pens, I've still been using my Urban Decay pencils. I've been basically using anything I have to use up, but this 24-hour brow setter, I think I talked about this last year. This little thing lasts me like 2 years because it's so small, more affordable. It's around like 12 to 14 pounds I want to say, and it's so good. It really just holds your brows in place. If you like that more fluffy, feathery looking brow, this is 100% something you want to grab. Okay, so eyeshadow primer. I've had to go back to an old favorite. So the Urban Decay Primer Potion in Eden has been my go-to. This is actually a new tube, but I've found that this constantly creases. Like if I do a deep smoky eye like today, I will have a dark like line in my crease within about 3 hours. So it just cannot combat my oils anymore. I thought maybe because that was an old tube, the new one would do me better, and it hasn't. So I've gone back to my old favourite, my Wet n Wild one. Look how loved this is. This is an old tube. They have actually changed the packaging of this now. I've had this for so long and I've got just a little bit left. So I'm looking to get a new one in probably like a week or two's time. But this thing, tested this out, Photofocus eyeshadow primer, and it is the best thing. Even though it's not tinted, I wish it was tinted. I have my Sigma stick as well. I was hoping that would help me, but no, that also creases. If I do need a bit of pigment, that's what I'll use. If not, I just go straight in with eyeshadow. So this is such an affordable product and best eyeshadow primer. Okay, eyeshadow palettes. I'm just going to talk about this one and give it a quick shout out. You would not believe how many times I've grabbed for this year. If I want to do a colourful eye, especially like a sunset eye or anything like that, I grab for this all the fucking time. The shimmers aren't the best. I will say like these two like golden shimmers aren't great, but this shade, Beautiful Fear, with the mattes is actually absolutely frigging beautiful, and I'm so glad I got this palette. My eyeshadow palette of the year, 100%, was always going to be Cool Tone, and it is the Pretty Grunge palette by Huda Beauty. I folded as soon as I saw Robert Welsh talk about this. It is just my Cool Tone dream. Look at it. The only thing I will say is that I don't know if the cream black shadow was necessary, but you know I'm going to be using this all the fucking time when I go to rock gigs this year. I'm so excited for this year. I cannot tell you, especially considering the shit I went through last year. I am so fucking excited. I have so much to look forward to, and this palette is going to be beaten the fuck up by the end of the year. Looks like today is pretty much what I'm going to be doing. This palette and also the Minka, like I'm saying that wrong, the Adept Cosmetic Minka palette. I don't know why these two matte shades are in there because no one I feel like is using these. Oh my god, if you want glitter shadows, holy shit. This is glitter dream. It's a better formula than, you know, the Tatty Beauty glitters. I feel like you had to have a glitter primer with that. With these ones, they have enough slip to them that you put them on top of your eyes, and that is what is on the middle of my eye. I did put a base of the Grunge palette. The rest of that shimmer you see, that is this shade here, which is like a silvery shade. Every single time I'm like, I just need something, just a little something shiny, I grab for this because it is beautiful. Before I bought that palette, I actually used this on my inner corners today. The Blurish liquid highlighter in Drip Drip. This shade, it is the most stunning wet looking shadow. I wish you'd come out with every single color under the sun. I would buy all of them. And look how big this is. I don't know how quickly it dries out. That's my only worry, is because I've had steel shadows that dry out and I'm scared about that. It's not too expensive considering how big this is. This has got 6 milliliters in it, which is quite a lot for a liquid shadow. If this doesn't dry out too quickly, and I've had this for a good 6 months, might even be longer, and it hasn't dried out at all yet, so this is a huge favorite. So eyeliners, still, it's actually starting to dry up after almost 2 years, I want to say. Benefit Roller Lash. When you need to go get eyeliners, get minis, because these things last a lot longer than you think, and then by the time they've dried out, you probably should be replacing it anyway. So this in black is beautiful, matte. It's one of those sort of felt tips that I actually prefer. Really easy to use to line the eye or to do cat eye wings. If I wasn't using that, I was using the Too Faced Better Than Sex chocolate eyeliner, because this came after this. I was obsessed with their chocolate mascara, hence why I bought the eyeliner. Funny story, I actually bought the eyeliner, left the store, and then got home and realised the eyeliner wasn't in the fucking box that I bought, so I had to go back and get another one. Thankfully, the customer service rep was really nice about it and didn't just assume I'd stolen it and was trying to get a free eyeliner, because otherwise I was out, like, I think this is quite expensive as well, it's about 20 quid. So these two in conjunction are gorgeous. This is the most beautiful brown natural mascara. If you like brown mascaras, this is like a dream come true, these two. Okay, my favourite mascara of the year is the Pat McGrath. I know another Pat McGrath product, I know. It's expensive, but it's so pretty. The Dark Star mascara. This is a more hourglass wand. Too Faced one is also hourglass as well. As you probably may remember, the Fetish Eyes mascara is my favourite volumizing mascara, but this one is also incredible. I'm wearing it today, although you probably can't tell how good it is because I have a super dark smoky eye on today. The only thing I don't like about these fucking mascaras, so I do everything I can with these mascaras. I even put on a waterproof mascara over the top of it, hopefully stop them smudging. They constantly smudge on me. I hate that they smudge on me. I hope Pat McGrath eventually comes out with either a waterproof mascara or at least maybe like a tubing mascara or something, because her formulas are incredible. I love the brushes. I just fucking hate that they smudge. I just wish they wouldn't smudge on me. I use eyeshadow primers all the time and they smudge. I use waterproof mascaras over the top of them and they smudge. I just can't get that to work for me. Like, they're just the best mascaras if it wasn't for that. But I still love them, still use them, and I just have panda eyes. Lastly, I want to talk about the Jennifer Coolidge e.l.f. collab. I was a hater as well. With that warm peachy lipstick and that like cool pink gloss, this lip liner, I did not think it was going to be the best combo, but it is the most gorgeous combination, bar this one. So if you like super cool tone stuff, the perfect natural lip for me, this is my perfect nude I've found. There is a dupe for this one, and there's a new like £2 e.l.f. lip liner that is basically the same shade. I bought those afterwards, swatched them, realised they're the same shade, and then e.l.f. themselves were like, oh, if you missed out on the collab, don't worry, because you can dupe it with these 3 products. It's like, so basically you didn't have to buy that collection, but it's a nice brown with enough warm pink in it. It's what I'm wearing underneath this lip gloss, and it's a very creamy formula considering it's a wooden pencil lip liner. Last product I want to talk about is these Kaleidos lip glosses. These are the most comfortable, nourishing feeling lip glosses I've tried this year, and I've grabbed a lot of lip glosses this year, like my Fenty one, I have an Ilamasca one. These two, I actually bought the whole collection because I liked all of them bar like 2, and I was like, I may as well just buy the whole thing because it's cheaper. These two, this one in Hot Pursuit and Smoke. So Hot Pursuit is at the top and Smoke is at the bottom. You can see one's just a bit more like mauvey than the other, and the other one's more brown. Oh, I love these lip glosses. I actually even love the applicator of them because the applicator is curved and it just really hugs the lips really nicely. Again, like I say, super nourishing. I have a red one that I used for Christmas that I absolutely loved under a red lipstick. They are lip glosses that do not get enough love. I enjoy them very much. That was a bit longer than I was expecting. I was expecting to wrap this up in about 10 minutes, so I'm really sorry about that. If there's any products you want me to review, let me know in a comment. I'm trying to minimize the amount I buy, but every now and then I'm like, do you know what? I really, really want this product, so I'm going to buy it. So if there is anything you want to see in action, let me know. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you all in the next one.